Growing up, I was made fun of by my family members. They would always crack jokes about my weirdly shaped head, my very big ears, or the fact that I was 8 years old with a voice that was so deep. And it made me feel bad about myself sometimes. But you know what? As I got older, I understood the only way to respond to negativity is with even more negativity. And we throw our bars back and forth and we have our time as a family insulting one another because you know what? Sometimes it's not dysfunction. It's our own layer of comfort. In those moments where I was made fun of, I never really thought to myself that it would be a good idea to bring harm physically towards my family because you know what? I'm a child and there's the likelihood that it really won't make sense for me in the long run mentally to do something like that. So I took my lumps and I got older and now I have the gift of gab and I could go toe to toe with anybody. And in my development, of course, as a child and teenager, you have to do chores, take out the garbage, sweep the floor, mop the floor, maybe even, especially in this case, do the dishes. And it's annoying, but it creates that sort of standard in your life to where, you got to keep things clean for when the day comes that you move out. And I know that the economy is not really favorable to a lot of people right now, to the point where they are staying with their parents in order to save a little money or to keep that financial stress at a minimum. And while that is a good idea, the negatives are still dealing with your parents and family. And the best course of action when you are, let's say, in your mid-20s, late 30s, and you still live with your parents is to just weather the storm for as long as you can and save your money. That way you can eventually move out and get your own roof over your head and you could dirty your own crib up however you see fit. What you shouldn't do is when your family comes back from a trip and they start antagonizing you over not doing the dishes, shoot your family, which ends up killing your sister.
But we begin at 5 with our big story tonight. He got fed up after years of bullying. That's the reason police say a Milwaukee man gave them for why he shot his parents and killed his sister.
Our Durante Matthews live in the newsroom now to break down what happened. Durante?
Yeah, Mary and Ted, within the last half hour, 32-year-old Gerardo Jimenez Rico was in court. Prosecutors say he confessed to killing his younger sister and shooting his parents. It happened last Wednesday after his family came back from a trip to Mexico. Now loved ones say they're mourning a death they say should have never happened. In this home on a snowy Milwaukee night, police say a man turned a gun on his family.
I can't believe it still.
Court records show officers responded to 40th and Cheyenne just before 7 last Wednesday for a shooting. Once they entered this home, they found 3 adults shot and 1 dead. The deceased was a 22-year-old woman, Jocelyn Jimenez. Police say an injured woman told them her son Gerardo shot them. Shortly after, police say this man, 32-year-old Gerardo Jimenez Rico, walked into a police station and confessed to shooting someone. Court records say he told police his parents and sisters had just got back from a trip to Mexico that night. Jimenez Rico says his father started to get on his case about dirty dishes and that his sister joined in. He told police his family has bullied him for years about not having a job, and this night he got fed up. Jimenez Rico said he got a gun and shot his father. He told police his sister came at him with a knife, so he shot and killed her. He said he can't explain why he shot his mother.
This was such a sudden loss that nobody is prepared for.
Karina Contreras says the family is devastated by the whole situation, especially the loss of her cousin Jocelyn.
She was such a genuinely good person.
Family says Jocelyn had dreams of starting her own business and learning to make cakes. They say more than anything, she looked forward to building a life with her fiancé and her young daughter.
We would always be messaging each other or talking about our kids. She loved her daughter with all her heart.
Loved ones tell me Jocelyn's parents are still in the hospital recovering.
I understand that as I'm recording this, we are now days off from Men's Mental Health Month. And a lot of people could look at something like this and worry about the mental health. And you know what? That's cool for you. But for me, I'm looking at a guy who just needed a reason. And for some reason, it was doing the dishes. Somebody who sat in the house for maybe a few days while everybody was on vacation and just dirtied the crib up and kept it dirty is not really somebody who I could trust in full capacity. And should you really be making fun of family members consistently all the time? No, but that's not going to be a reason to shoot them either. So it's a double entendre where we only look at one person as the issue, and it's the guy who killed his sister. Because in your moments of being upset that someone got on your case to do the dishes, the alternative would have been to just do the fucking dishes. That way, they would have just came back and talked to you about their great vacation and how they wish you could have came, but you didn't have no money for your own plane ticket and they wasn't gonna buy your plane ticket because you a grown-ass fucking adult. It's becoming a little bit ridiculous how people choose to respond to being antagonized. And listen, as somebody who was bullied in his life, I thought about swinging back. I thought about throwing a punch. But in the end, I valued my own freedom more than I valued the sanctity of a moment of time of getting my lick back over some shit that I can't even fully remember in my own capacity, because why in the fuck would I remember high school? Anyone whose glory days were high school, your life sucks and you know it. But back to this fuck, you can't think to yourself, okay, I feel like I did my big one. It's a good thing you ran to the cops and admitted what you did, but there's no layer in me that's going to feel sorry because you decided in your fit of rage over dirty dishes to kill somebody, and it was your own fucking family member. Now your family has to grieve and deal with planning a funeral and going through the process of healing because your parents aren't dead, you just shot at them and they're in the hospital. Now they got to deal with hospital bills, they got to deal with the cost of a funeral, all because your dumb ass was too high keened on your emotions to where you had all this energy to kill somebody and shoot at people, but you had none of it to do the dishes. That's just fucking pathetic, and I hope you rot in hell when the time comes. But for now, I hope Big Tyrone gives you a gun, but it ain't gonna be a pistol. It's gonna be something that's in his pants. And to everybody else, if your parents tell you to wash the dishes, just wash them. Yeah, it's fucking annoying. Yeah, they could do it, but you need a little bit of responsibility in your life. You need to create a structure. That way, when you move out, I don't care if you move out in your 30s, your 40s, it don't matter. When you move out, you know how to handle living on your own, because let's be honest, a few of you are not really keen on how to do that. But subscribe to the channel and let me know how you deal with familial stress, because we're coming up on the 4th of July and I know everybody's gonna be sitting back cooking burgers, hot dogs, getting drunk, getting beer and lighting fireworks, and maybe you're gonna be around some family that make you feel bad. How are you gonna cope with that? How are you going to deal with a bunch of people pretending like they're successes even though they're in financial debt? Are you even going to go because you don't want to deal with that toxicity? Let me know how you're navigating all of these things, and I will see you all in the next one. Mwah! Goodbye.